everyone, welcome to another Stamp Chatter video. My name is Leanne and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from the beautiful west coast of British Columbia. And today I'm going to continue playing with the Fun for Fall bundle. This is a new exclusive stamp set from Stampin' Up! And I did a card in the last video using this, and I'm going to do it again because I recently saw a video that Sam Calcott did on a panel card, and she did hers in a slimline size, so I thought this would be a perfect for my Fun for Fall stamp set. So I just made a smaller version of it, and so I changed some of the measurements, and so I'll let you know how to do that. Really super simple card to make, and I just love the way it stands up. Not that you can see it from your angle, but I think that's fun when you send it to someone. I'm going to put Very Vanilla on the back so that I can write on it, but I think that's a fun card to give to somebody. So what you're going to need is your base card, which is going to be 9 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I scored it so that my column was 1 1/4 inches around. So let's just take this card. Okay. So again, this cardstock I've cut here is 9 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to go to the 4 1/4 inch mark, because if I was doing a normal card, that's how my brain worked. That would be my center. So that's 4 1/4. And then every score line from this point forward is going to be part of the column. So I wanted it to be 1 1/4 inches. And so from the 4 1/4, I'm going to add 1 1/4 inches, and that's going to take me to 5 1/2. But if you want to do a 1 inch, then go to 5 1/4, 6 1/4, so on. That just means you have to shorten this as well, but it should be pretty easy to figure out. Okay, so 4 1/4 scoring, and then 5 1/2, and then 6 3/4, and then 8 inches. And I'm also going to go to the end here, and just because when I fold up this column so that it's a square, I don't want it to bind. And so to help prevent that, I'm going to shave off just a hair, like maybe a 1/16 if you can, off one edge. And the other pieces I've already cut up because I am going to do this card for a swap that I'm in this month. So all my swap buddies in Canada are going to get this card. And so I've cut a bunch up, plus I love the DSP paper that I'm using, which is the Sunflower Fields, and you only get 2 sheets of one design each, which normally is a lot, but I've fallen in love with this particular color on the Cajun Craze, and so I've used every inch of it. I need to order more already, and I just got it. Okay, so we're going to use that with some Very Vanilla. So like I said, I've already cut this up. So I've cut up 3 pieces of Very Vanilla for the sides of the boxes, okay? And those are 1 1/16 by 5 1/4 plus a 1/16. Now I've done that 1/16 just to make it a tad smaller. You do not have to do the 1/16 extra. You can just do 1 by 5 1/4 if that works better for your brain. But I added a 1/16 when I cut it off. So mine are 1 1/16, and then this is 5 1/4 plus a 1/16, which comes to what is that, 5/16? Anyway, that's why I like saying 5 1/4 plus, just better for my brain. Okay, and the DSP that we're going to put in it, that is 7/8 by 5 1/8. That's going to go in there. So like I said, I cut up a whole bunch of pieces already. And then the inside is a Very Vanilla piece that's 2 3/4 plus a 1/16 and 5 1/4 plus a 1/16. And again, you can ignore the plus 1/16 if you want to, but that's just my measurements. And then your DSP would be 2 1/2 plus a 1/16, and then 5 inches plus a 1/16. And this, again, works perfectly well. That's not the piece I want. It's also not the piece I want. Works perfectly well if you just skip the 1/16 part. Okay, there we go. That's my piece. All right, so let's do that first. Glue everything together and then keep going. So let's glue this down. And then we will glue it on the inside right of our card, which I got to turn this around. So here are my score lines. If you can't see them, they're on the left side. This will be on the inside, just like that. Okay. Right. So I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to fold it over again. One more time, one more time. This is basically my square. I'm just going to roll it till I get that square. And then on these 3 sides, let's flatten that out. These first 3 panels is where I'm going to put this decoration. And then we can keep going with the card. Just like that. Super, super easy card. I think I said that on the last one and it was a wiper card. But for a fun fold, I actually think that card was pretty simple with a significant wow factor to it. So check that out if you haven't seen it. All right, that's number 2. And then one more. Just here. Okay. So that's it for the little panels. Don't want to put it on the last one. And by the way, I mean, we're going to cover up most of that panel. So if you don't want to waste any DSP, you can always just put like maybe a 1/2 inch strip at the top and a 1/2 inch on the bottom, because eventually we're going to put a panel over top and it's going to cover most of it anyway. So if you want to save some DSP, you can do that. All right, I'm going to add some glue to this panel. And remember, I shaved off like a 1/16 of it. And I'm going to fold the panel in half like this. And then I'm just going to close it. And this is where it can bind sometimes if you didn't quite measure it properly. So maybe do this when it's dry and you don't have any glue on it, just to make sure this sits perfectly flat and isn't binding here on the edge. But that's why I just go ahead and cut off a little bit of the cardstock. All right, so there you basically got your column card. It doesn't really get much easier than that. I've already glued 2 pieces together. This is my panel. So the Cajun Craze piece was 2 3/4 by 5. And my very vanilla piece was 2 1/2 plus a 1/16, and then 4 3/4 plus a 1/16. Again, you can skip the plus 1/16. That's just how I did it. And that will eventually go on the front like this, and then we'll cut up a piece for the back later on. But we're gonna stamp, and I've already done that as well, if I can find it. I've stamped a couple pieces already on some Whisper White. Let me just put the lid on my glue so it doesn't dry out. And I'm going to color this just the same way I've colored the last couple projects using this scarecrow. Oops, just dropped some on the floor. And I will put a link, excuse me, not a link, but I will put below the colors that I've used in case you're interested. And we are going to do the flowers a little different, but I've got 5, I got 4 here, but I'm going to cut out 5. So I'll do a little coloring, and I won't bore you too badly with this. So I'll speed this process up and we'll talk in a minute. let's bring in my panel. Okay, so here's my panel. Here's my little guy. Now, I probably shouldn't have glued this down. I got a bit happy about that. I'm gonna bring in some Granny Apple Green in my stamp set. Fun for fall. Oh, it's right in front of me. Looking for something that's right in front of my nose. Don't we do that a lot when we're crafting? I don't know what that is, but anyway. Okay. So I do want my guy to be off to the side because he's going to be holding a bouquet of flowers. So I'm just going to take some of this grass and stamp it all along the bottom. I think it's nicer if you try and overlap it a little. I don't know. I don't really like what I did there in the beginning, but this is going to be kind of over some of it anyway, so that's okay. All right, so that's where it's going to go. I'm also going to take this one, which is So Thankful for You. And I think I'm going to stamp that in Cajun. That is not Cajun. All right, Cajun Craze. Let's just put that on there properly. A stamp here. Yep. Sometimes I do that stamp first. Okay. So Thankful for You. All right. Let me show you what I did with these flowers. I am just going to glue this guy on. I'm not going to pop him up, or am I? Maybe. Let me think about this. Actually, I think I am. I think I will pop him up. So let's grab my tweezers. Put a bunch of dimensions on him. Some regular size, some mini sized, just like that. One in the middle. Okay, I'm gonna put them over here. Yep. Like that better. So this might be a bit finicky, but take your little flowers and just bunch them together. Make sure you can kind of see all of them. Like that. Maybe one goes lower, one goes higher. I mean, 4 works too. I just like odd numbers. So I'm gonna do, I think over here, 5. All right, kind of like that. I want them to hold it. And I want these, oh, you know what I forgot to do? 2 things I forgot to do. I was gonna give these a little bit of a green stem with the Granny Apple, just to add a little more color. So I'll do that first. Use this brush stroke side. Okay. One more. And the other thing I forgot to do, I have some Secret C. That's not it. Where is it? Secret C. Right here. I'm going to take the Secret C dark, or light, sorry, the light. I'm going to take that small end and I'm going to go into his scarf. I'm just going to give him polka dots. I don't know, I just think that gives this whole thing a lot more character. And I'm going to do the same on the patches. And then on the brim of his hat. Isn't that cute? I think that's cute. Makes them a little more country looking. All right, let's bring back the flowers. And this is going to be, I'm going to say a little sticky because we're going to take some glue. And once I get these in order, like that, and I'm going to try and bring my stems together on the bottom. I'm going to bring in some glue, and I'm going to try and dab a little glue in between all these stems, and you're going to get a bit sticky. It's a bit of a sticky mess doing this. As you move things around, you just want it to hold together long enough for you to put some string around it. So that might do it. So it's the fussiest part of this whole card, is that. So just gonna, maybe not, maybe a little more. This back one isn't really holding on to anything. And you know what? If it gets a bit gluey, and it's going to, because it's so sticky and narrow down here, don't worry about it. We're going to cover it up. Okay, I'm just going to lay that down. Let that dry. I'm going to bring in some linen thread. Okay, and I'm going to double this up. Probably don't need that much. And my scissors, cut this off. I'm actually going to cut this as well. We're going to make a bow with 2 pieces of linen because I want it to be a little on the thicker side, but not too thick. Tricky. There we go. So just fuss with it. It's a bit fussy. Well, maybe more fussy when you have nails. It's a little more fussy. So take the ends. Come on. Where are ya? There we go. All right. I'm going to bring those ends down there out of the way. It's not quite where I want it yet, so I'm going to pull this in. Pull this in. Pull it again. Just get it to where you want it. Bring that in a bit. And once you're happy with your bow, okay, kind of like that. Perfect. Cut. My scissors are a bit dull for ribbon. And then we're just going to lay it over top. You could wrap something around. I did that for the first one and it got overly fussy. But you just want to tack it down because you're going to use little mini dots anyway, which is going to help secure everything down. And then I also have some adhesive dots. I do paper pumpkin, so I have so many of these left over from paper pumpkin. That's kind of nice to use in my everyday crafting. So that's going to be for the flowers to sit on. I'm also going to put one on top here for the ribbon. That should secure that pretty darn good. Okay, then I'm going to gently turn this over. I'm going to add some mini dimensions to the backs of these flowers. That's also going to help hold everything into place. Even going to put one down there, just like that. All right, that's going to help keep the whole bouquet together. So just like that. Bring back my card, kind of bring this in. Now it's up to you how you want to. Like initially I wanted it kind of to stick out so that the DSP paper showed, but when you close it, it may go over the edge. And if you're going to put it into an envelope, obviously you don't want it to be bigger than 4 1/4. And so I just went right to the edge of that very vanilla piece with some glue. It's on this side. And I'm actually going to squish this down. Make sure I have it. See what I mean by covering up most of your DSP? You can just cut a sliver instead of wasting all of that. And there you have it. Your cute little column card. And we'll put some very vanilla on the back as well. But I'm telling you, I am having a lot of fun with this particular stamp set. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks. Bye.